President Trump is vindicated and the liberal media is humiliated as the COVID lab leak theory is becoming more and more plausible. In this video, we're going to take a look at the mainstream media and how they've completely humiliated themselves in their coverage of the lab leak theory over the past year, how exactly that theory has once again become plausible, and why so many in both the scientific community and the media were so quickly prone to not only dismiss it, but ridicule and mock it. You're not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Patriots all across the globe. Dr. Steve here with you. Great to be with you, as always. If this is your first time with us and you're looking for some daily encouragement and optimism, as well as analysis to help you make sense of these crazy times we find ourselves in, you have found your oasis in this channel. We post 2 videos a day, analyzing current events in light of conservative trends to help you to think better so you can feel better in these trying and turbulent times. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe. Before we jump into things here, let's give a huge shout out to the sponsor of this video, and that's collagen, available at my special website, healthwithsteveturley.com. Now, if you don't know, collagen may in fact be the closest thing we'll ever get to a real fountain of youth. Many health experts now agree that consuming collagen helps to renew and revitalize how you look and how you feel. Taking collagen regularly can revitalize your body. It can make your skin, your bones, even your hair look and feel more healthy and youthful. And if you click on that link below today, you can get up to 51% off your order. So do not wait. Click on that link below today. Get your own collagen supply. You'll be glad that you did. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. A year after the mainstream media unanimously denounced and mercilessly ridiculed the notion that COVID-19 originated from a Wuhan lab, now that same media is conceding that that is precisely what may indeed have happened. Let's start with what we know so far. According to the World Health Organization, which unfortunately was largely complicit with the media's year-long denunciation, nevertheless, according to the WHO, the first fatality from COVID-19 was reported by Chinese state media on January 11, 2020, when a 61-year-old man who was a regular customer at a market in Wuhan died. The first confirmed case in the United States was 10 days later when a man returned to Washington state from Wuhan. Within a week, on January 26, 2020, the Washington Times ran an article that suggested links between the outbreak of the coronavirus and the Wuhan Institute of Virology. That article was largely dismissed by the mainstream media. On January 29th, just a few days after the Washington Times article, the Washington Post printed the headline, "Experts Debunk Fringe Theory Linking China's Coronavirus to Weapons Research." And in the article, they made it seem as if the security at the Wuhan lab was absolutely impenetrable. Then in February, Republican Senator Tom Cotton began to raise questions about what China was hiding. In response, the New York Times ran the headline, "Senator Tom Cotton Repeats Fringe Theory of Coronavirus Origins." Now, just as an aside, when has the New York Times ever accused Ilhan Omar and Ocasio-Cortez of peddling in fringe theories? Isn't that interesting? But regardless, that hardly compares to the Washington Post headline. Tom Cotton keeps repeating a coronavirus conspiracy theory that was already debunked. In April, NPR published their own take on all this with the headline, "Virus Researchers Cast Doubt on Theory of Coronavirus Lab Accident," with the first line of the article reading, quote, "Virus researchers say there is virtually no chance that the new coronavirus was released as a result of a laboratory accident in China or anywhere else." Then in May, the fireworks really started. That's when the media harangued President Trump for claiming to have seen evidence that the virus originated in a Wuhan lab, since he offered no details to back up the claim. And it's from that point forward that the media decided that they would act more as hecklers than reporters, mocking and ridiculing Trump's suggestion as little more than a kooky conspiracy theory. And the so-called scientific community frankly jumped on board. Take a look at this headline from the Center of Infection Disease Research and Policy. Scientists say exactly zero evidence COVID-19 came from a lab. Now, you saw that with your own eyes. Zero evidence. Actually, it was exactly zero evidence. That was the media-driven narrative for over a year. You could see how the Democrats looked within this media-driven narrative. They were seen as the sensible political party that was staying firmly in the realm of the scientific consensus. Trump and the Republicans, well, they were a threat. They're a threat to your health. They're a threat to world peace. But then, in January this year, something happened. A delegation from the World Health Organization was only allowed 3 hours inside the Wuhan lab and was unable to examine any of the Wuhan Institute's safety logs or records of testing on its staff. The severity, the limitations, and the strictness of the Chinese officials in turn led to a paradigm shift among scientists. Perhaps there is something to this theory. And then the dam broke. Last week, 18 prominent scientists signed an open letter calling for an open investigation into the virus's origins. That open letter was followed by a report by the Wall Street Journal that found that the first people infected with COVID-19 appear to actually have been researchers at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. They uncovered the fact that in November of 2019, 3 of these researchers were taken to the hospital with COVID-like symptoms. The journal's investigation was corroborated by a State Department fact sheet detailing the same conclusions that the virus may likely have originated in a lab. And then, even Dr. Fauci himself claimed that he was no longer convinced that the virus developed naturally. Now, we have to say up front, the lab leak thesis is just that. It's far from proven. It still remains a theory. But here's the key, as you saw for yourself, it is now widely recognized as a highly plausible one, which of course raises the question, why did the media so intently insist on dismissing it? Why did members of the media feel the need not to just merely dismiss the theory, but to tar and feather, to mock and ridicule it as a harmful racist smear or kooky conspiracy theory? We're absolutely going to answer that. But first, I want to personally invite you to our brand new Patriot Entrepreneur Live event that we're holding on June 4th and 5th. It is a virtual conference for anyone interested in learning how to break free from your woke work environment and become financially independent. What does that sound like, huh? The beauty is because it's a virtual event, you don't even have to leave the comfort of your own couch, and you can secure your seat simply by clicking on the link below. And for this week only, we got a special giveaway for you. Ready for this one? Anyone who purchases a gold or platinum ticket will be entered into a drawing for a one-on-one video with yours truly, or shall I say yours Turley, right? That's right. Click on that link below right now and get entered into a drawing for a video call with me, your humble host. This offer ends this Friday night at midnight when ticket prices go up, so do not wait. Click on that link below right now, and I'll see you for a weekend that promises to be a game changer for your life like never before. All right, so now with the genie out of the bottle, we've got to ask what on earth was going on with the mainstream media so petulantly mocking and ridiculing the suggestion that the COVID virus came from a Wuhan lab. To be fair, it was not just the media playing this silly little game. More and more responsible members of the media, like Tucker Carlson, want answers as to why it is that Dr. Fauci lied for over a year about the origins of the virus. He obviously knew about the intelligence regarding the virus's lab origins. He obviously knew the lab itself, as CDC has been funding it, for heaven's sakes. So why would he so readily dismiss the lab origin theory for all this time? Well, one reason is that scholars have found that science is every bit as susceptible to politically correct pressures as any other professional field. Nathan Kofna documented the scientific community's attitudes towards politically correct pressures, and he concluded that there is widespread acceptance among the members of the scientific community of 2 central ideas. First, the prevailing PC morality requires that scientists should not conduct research that threatens to uncover facts that contradict these PC morally required beliefs. And secondly, the same PC morality requires scientists to hold certain politically correct beliefs, regardless if there's any evidence for those beliefs. So the point here is that the so-called scientific community's every bit as prone to bending their assessments according to politically correct norms as any other professional field. Science is not immune to bending to politically correct norms. So that, I believe, is the scientific problematic, as it were. But when it comes to the media, I don't think there's any science needed here. The mainstream media became hecklers rather than reporters out of their utter and complete hatred for Donald Trump and his supporters. Their so-called reporting wanted to make Trump a national spectacle so as to help Biden and the Democrats defeat him in November. They made no secret of that. If you haven't given up on the mainstream media as of yet, this whole coronavirus fiasco should be the straw that breaks the camel's back for you. What we have to understand is that the mainstream media doesn't report reality. They report what's commonly referred to as virtual reality, where they construct and fabricate narratives that are then presented as objective and disinterested reality. That, at least up to now, has been the mystique of the mainstream media. They maintain the public's trust by presenting themselves as objective and disinterested mediators of reliable information. Those days are gone. That ship has sailed. It was the French philosopher Jean Baudrillard who created a whole theory in understanding the media, and indeed much of the modern globalist world, as a massive simulacra, where the media's fabrication reality actually replaces reality. It cuts us off from what's actually real. And the mediation society becomes increasingly artificial and, yes, manipulated. This is why you can throw away so much of what the mainstream media tells you. It's simulacra. It's virtual reality concocted and fabricated by the leftist life world of the reporter. In fact, one scholar actually, Jean Baudrillard, was actually called by one scholar the prophet of fake news. And the wonderful news is that all the polls show that more and more people are recognizing this nonsense. And now with this absurd about-face on the origins of the COVID virus, where the media is actually embracing what only months ago they were mocking and ridiculing, we really are seeing nothing less than the collapse of the mainstream media's ability to pass this virtual reality as true any longer. Now, before you go, you'll definitely want to check out my latest video. I just uploaded it. You're going to love this one. It's on how Antifa gets utterly humiliated at a Portland Patriot flag event as 5 Oregon counties vote to secede from their state. We look at a major Antifa fail over this past weekend, how 5 Oregon counties all voted overwhelmingly to leave their ridiculous left-wing state, and how one astute pundit in particular is noticing a massive hurricane brewing outside of D.C. that's ready to blow the Democrats out of power in 2022. You're not going to want to miss it. So make sure to click on the link, and I will see you over there. God bless.